Listen to all. In our last video, we discussed what is matrix and what is the order of a matrix. Matrix is an arrangement of numbers into rows and columns. If a matrix contains m rows and n columns, then the order is m by n. Today, we have to discuss different types of matrices. There is some different types of matrices. First of all, we can understand what are the different types of matrices. Our first type matrix is row matrix. Row matrix. What is row matrix? Row matrix, suppose you are going some examples based on row matrix. 1, 2, 3. Right, another matrix B is equal to 5, 6, minus 1, 3. Then C is equal to 8. These three matrices are row matrices. Why? Because our first matrix is containing only one row and three columns. The second matrix there is one row and four columns. Now the last matrix contains one row and one column. So these matrices are said to be row matrices. Why? There is only one rows. Okay, that is generally the order of a matrix is m by n. Here in a row matrix, the value of m is always 1, and therefore generally we define the row matrix as any 1 by n matrix. Any 1 by n matrix is called row matrix. Any 1 by n matrix is called row matrix. Okay, that's all. Any 1 by, there is only one row. Now define column matrix. What is column matrix? Column matrix. Column matrix. What is column matrix? Okay, we'll write some examples. A is equal to 3, 2, 1. B is equal to 1 minus 1. C is equal to 10. These are column matrices. Why? Here the order of this matrix, there is 3 rows and 1 column. In second, 2 rows and 1 column. Third, 1 row and 1 column. That is, from these 3 matrices, number of columns are always equal to 1. That type matrix is called a column matrix. There is only one column. But in a row matrix, there is only one row. Generally, the definition of column matrix is, the order of a matrix is m by n. But in column matrix, n is always 1. That is, any m by 1 matrix. That is called a column matrix. Any m by 1 matrix is called a column matrix. These are the first two type matrices. First is row matrix and second is column matrix. Any 1 by n matrix is called a row matrix and any m by 1 matrix is called a column matrix. Okay, that's all. Any 1 by n matrix is called a row matrix. Any m by 1 matrix is called a column matrix. That is, in a row matrix there is only one row, and in column matrix there is only one column. Now define the third type matrix as rectangular and square matrix. Third and fourth matrix. Rectangular matrix. Rectangular matrix and then square matrix. What is a rectangular and square matrix? Rectangular matrix. We'll write some examples. A is equal to 1, 2, minus 1, 3, 0, 5. B is equal to 2, minus 1, 1, 0, 3, 2. And C equal to 5, 0, minus 1, 2. D is equal to 1, 2, 3, 0, 2, 1, 3, 3, 1. Okay, here these two matrices are said to be a rectangular matrix and these two matrices are called square matrix. Why? Here, what is the order of this matrix? There's 2 rows and 3 columns. There are also 3 rows and 2 columns. But in C and D, here there is 2 rows and 2 columns and 3 rows and 3 columns. Here, number of rows and number of columns are not equal. This also number of rows and number of columns are not equal. Here, number of rows and number of columns are these 2 matrices. Number of rows and number of columns are equal. That means our definition says when number of rows and number of columns are not equal, that type matrix is called rectangular matrix, and number of rows is equal to number of columns, that type matrix is called a square matrix. In a matrix, number of rows and number of columns are not equal, such type matrix is called a rectangular matrix. And number of rows is equal to number of columns, that type matrix is called a square matrix. Any 1 by n matrix is called a row matrix. Any m by 1 matrix is called a column matrix. In a matrix, number of rows is not equal to number of columns, that type matrix is called a rectangular matrix. In a matrix, number of rows is equal to number of columns, that type matrix is called a square matrix. That is m not equal to n. That type matrix is called a rectangular matrix. M equal to n, that type matrix is called a square matrix. That is a rectangular matrix, number of rows are not equal to number of columns. This is the form of rectangular shape. This is also the form of square shape. That's all. That's all the 4 different types of matrices. Now we'll define other 3 type matrices. Next is diagonal matrix. Diagonal matrix. Then scalar matrix. Scalar matrix. Then unity matrix. Unity matrix. Second name is identity matrix. Unity matrix or identity matrix. What are these? Are the 3 another type of matrices. Row matrix, any 1 by n matrix. Column matrix, m by 1 matrix. Number of rows, number of columns not equal, such type matrix. Rectangular, number of rows, number of columns equal, that type matrix is called square matrix. Now define what is a diagonal matrix, what is scalar matrix, and what is unity matrix. Okay. You already know in a square there exists 2 diagonals. This diagonal is named as principal diagonal and this diagonal is named as off diagonal. This diagonal is named as principal diagonal and this is named as off diagonal. Okay. Well, then now define what is diagonal matrix. For defining the diagonal matrix, I consider a square matrix. A is equal to 1 0 0 0 3 0 0 0 5. From this square matrix, only the principal diagonal elements are non-zeros and all other elements are zeros. Such type matrix is called a diagonal matrix. That means a square matrix in which the principal diagonal elements are non-zero entries. That type matrix is called a diagonal matrix. I will repeat. A square matrix in which only the principal diagonal elements are non-zero entries. That type matrix is called diagonal matrix. Now, I define what is scalar matrix. What is scalar matrix? Here, I write a matrix 2 0 0 0 2 0 0 0 2. This matrix is called a scalar matrix. Why? The principal diagonal elements are non-zero and they are equal. These non-zero elements are equal. That type matrix is called scalar matrix. Actually, this matrix is a square matrix, also is a diagonal matrix. Also is called a scalar matrix. Why? The principal diagonal elements are non-zero and they are equal. That type matrix is called a scalar matrix. And our definition says that a diagonal matrix in which the non-zero elements are equal. A diagonal matrix in which the non-zero elements are equal. Such type matrix is called scalar matrix. And our last type matrix is unity matrix. Unity matrix, generally we denote symbol I. That is, here 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1. Actually, it's a scalar matrix, but these non-zero elements are unity. And our definition says that a diagonal matrix in which the non-zero elements are unity, that type matrix is called unity matrix or identity matrix. A diagonal matrix in which the non-zero elements are equal, that matrix is called scalar matrix. A diagonal matrix in which the non-zero elements are unity, unity means one, unity, that type matrix is called unity matrix or identity matrix. And what is a diagonal matrix? A square matrix in which the principal diagonal elements are non-zero entries. That type matrix is called diagonal matrix. What is scalar matrix? A diagonal matrix in which the non-zero elements are equal. A diagonal matrix in which the non-zero elements are equal. That type matrix is called scalar matrix. What is unity matrix? A diagonal matrix in which the non-zero elements are unity. The diagonal matrix in which the non-zero elements are unity. That means one. That type matrix is called unity matrix or identity matrix. Okay, identity matrix is generally denoted by the symbol is I. Here I3. That means it's a 3 by 3 order matrix. And what is I2? I2 is represented as 1 0 0 1. It's a 2 by 2 order matrix. I2. Actually, this identity matrix is actually a square matrix, is a diagonal matrix, and is also a scalar matrix. Scalar matrix is square matrix, diagonal matrix, and scalar matrix. This matrix is only square matrix and a diagonal matrix. It's not a scalar and identity. Okay, identity matrix is scalar. Diagonal square matrix scalar matrix square matrix diagonal matrix but diagonal matrix only diagonal matrix square matrix square matrix diagonal square matrix scalar square matrix identity but identity matrix square diagonal scalar matrix. Okay, and what is square matrix? Number of rows and number of columns are equal. Such type matrix is called a square matrix. What is a diagonal matrix? A square matrix in which only the principal diagonal elements are non-zero. That type matrix is called a diagonal matrix. Then scalar matrix, a diagonal matrix in which the non-zero elements are equal. That type matrix is called a scalar matrix. Then what is unity matrix? A diagonal matrix in which the non-zero elements are unity. That matrix is called identity matrix or unity matrix. Now, I will define our last definition of the types of matrix is triangular matrix. What is triangular matrix? Triangular matrix. Triangular matrix. A triangular matrix, there are two types of triangular matrix. First is upper triangular and second is lower triangular. What is upper triangular matrix? And here I write a matrix that is A is equal to 1 2 minus 1 0 5 1 0 0 7 and second matrix is 3 0 0 5 4 0 1 1 3. This matrix is named as upper triangle. Why? All the elements in a square matrix, all the elements below the principal diagonals. Which is the principal diagonal. Below the principal diagonals are zeros. In a square matrix, all the elements below the principal diagonal elements are zeros. That type matrix is called upper triangle. We form a triangle. This is upper triangular matrix. Upper triangular matrix. But in a lower triangular matrix, a square matrix in which all the elements above the principal diagonals are zeros. That type matrix is called lower triangle. Non-zero elements created lower triangle. Triangular form non-zero elements created matrix form here. These are very important matrices for finding determinant. At that time, determinant portion matrix is important. So, first of all, you understand what is a triangular matrix. There is two types of matrices triangular. First is upper triangular and lower triangular. What is upper triangular? A square matrix in which all the elements below the principal diagonals are zeros. That type matrix is called upper triangular. And what is lower triangular? A square matrix in which all the elements above the principal diagonals are zeros. That type matrix is called lower triangular matrix. And next line we write a matrix which is either upper triangular or lower triangular. That matrix is called a triangular matrix. A matrix which is either upper triangular or lower triangular. That type matrix is called a triangular matrix. Okay? I prepare one more. A square matrix in which all the elements below the principal diagonals are zero. That type matrix is called upper triangular. And all the elements above the principal diagonals are zero. That type matrix is called lower triangular. And next paragraph, you write a matrix in which is either upper triangular or lower triangular. That type matrix is called triangular matrix. A matrix which is either upper triangular or lower triangular. That type matrix is called triangular matrix. That's all. That's all. That's very important. But just you apply properties applied by matrix idea. That's all. Okay. Now that's all the main types of matrices. Our first is row matrix. Row matrix. You know what is row matrix? Any 1 by n matrix is called a row matrix. Next is column matrix. Column matrix. What is column matrix? Any m by 1 matrix is called a column matrix. Third is rectangular matrix. Rectangular matrix. Rectangular matrix. A matrix in which number of rows not equal to number of columns. That type matrix is called rectangular. Then square. A matrix in which number of rows is equal to number of columns. That type matrix is called square matrix. Then diagonal matrix. Diagonal. What is diagonal matrix? A square matrix in which the principal diagonal elements are non-zero. Only the principal diagonal. You know the principal diagonal? Right. It is a principal diagonal. This is the principal diagonal. Okay. A square matrix in which the principal diagonal elements are non-zero. That type matrix is called a diagonal matrix. Then scalar matrix. What is scalar matrix? What is scalar matrix? A diagonal matrix in which the non-zero elements are there. Is only the non-zero element. There is only the principal diagonal. Okay. A diagonal matrix in which the non-zero elements are equal. That type matrix is called a scalar matrix. Then unity matrix. What is unity matrix? A diagonal matrix in which the non-zero elements are unity. That means 1. That type matrix is called a unity matrix. Our second name is identity matrix. And then last triangular matrix. What is triangular matrix? What is triangular matrix? There are two triangular matrices. First is upper triangular, a square matrix in which all the elements below the principal diagonals are zero. That type matrix is called upper triangular, and all the elements above the principal diagonals are zeros is called lower triangular matrix. And next line we write a matrix which is either upper triangular or lower triangular. That type matrix is called a triangular matrix. Okay, these are the different types of matrices. That's all. Now, next video we will discuss how to form a matrix. That means construction of a matrices. That's all. Bye.